Hi, welcome to That's Ready Mysterious, the show where every bite-sized mystery is rooted in reality. I'm your host, Kelly with an I, leading you through a maze of short stories that are filled with perplexing true mysteries. From missing people to unsolved crimes to eerie coincidences, each episode invites you to step into the unknown and question the ordinary. These tales aren't from fiction, they're stories history hasn't solved. Whether you seek suspense, love curious facts, or are just drawn to stories that linger in your mind, That's Ready Mysterious is your weekly passport into the truly strange, baffling, and unforgettable. Tune in and let the mysteries begin. Transcripts and references for all episodes can be found at that'sreadymysterious.wordpress.com. No apostrophe and no exclamation point. Today's tale is about Derinkuyu. Derinkuyu means deep well in Turkish. The city of Derinkuyu is beneath Cappadocia, which is in central Türkiye. There are said to be over 200 underground cities under the Anatolian plains in Cappadocia. Most of them are connected to each other through tunnels, some of which extend as far as 9 kilometers or a little over 5.5 miles. The majority of these tunnels have emergency escape routes in case people within needed to get to the surface quickly. So far, only about 36 of the underground cities have been discovered. The underground city of Derinkuyu is the largest excavated underground city in the world. It used to be known as Derinkuyu. Although it is not the only underground city in the area, it is the biggest, at 445 square kilometers or almost 172 square miles. Derinkuyu resides more than 85 meters or almost 279 feet below the surface. There are 18 levels of tunnels which extend up to 76 meters or around 280 feet deep, and it was able to hold up to 20,000 people for months at a time. Derinkuyu was a fully functional city with stables, churches, cellars, kitchens, water cisterns, dwellings, oil and wine presses, and a rudimentary sewer system. Derinkuyu was not a temporary shelter, but was intended to be used for long periods of time and could sustain large populations. Derinkuyu was carved into volcanic rock thousands of years ago, and generations of people have lived within its tunnels. The Cappadocia landscape is filled with rock formations called fairy chimneys. These chimneys are built by erosion of softer volcanic tuff, or rock formed by volcanic ash ejected during explosions or eruptions, and which then turns into a solid mass over time. The soft rock came from ancient eruptions of Mount Argius and other volcanoes millions of years ago. The exact date of construction of Derinkuyu is a mystery, but Anabasis, written by Xenophon around 370 BC, was the oldest reference to the city. In it, Xenophon writes about the Anatolian people in or near the region of Cappadocia living underground in excavated homes rather than in the more popular cliffside cave dwellings that are known in the area. Because of the landscape in the area, the people who lived there could not easily grow crops. The rock was soft enough to carve into, but strong enough to support structures. It was perfect for building a city beneath the surface. Andrea Di Giorgi, Associate Professor of Classical Studies at Florida State University, said that Cappadocia is a great place for this kind of underground city due to the lack of water in the soil and the easily moldable rock. He explained, "The geomorphology of the region is conducive to the digging of underground spaces." He said that the city could have easily been carved using simple tools like shovels and pickaxes. The origins of Derinkuyu are still hotly debated among both historians and archaeologists. What they do know is that the earliest parts of the construction date back thousands of years. There is some evidence that parts of the city were carved during the Hittite period, which occurred during the 2nd millennium BC. According to A. Bertini, an expert in Mediterranean cave dwellings, the basis for the city is frequently credited to the Hittites, who could have begun excavation of the first few levels in order to escape the Phrygians, sometime around the year 1200 BC. There have been some Hittite artifacts found inside Derinkuyu. Some others think that the Phrygians began excavation after the collapse of the Hittite Empire, sometime around the 8th or 7th century BC. The Phrygians were conquered by the Romans, both of which were Christian empires. De Giorgi said, "The Phrygians were one of the Anatolia's most prominent early empires. They developed across western Anatolia around the end of the first millennium BCE and had a bent for monumentalizing rock formations and creating remarkable rock-cut facades. Though elusive, their kingdom spread to include most of western and central Anatolia, including the area of Derinkuyu." Although we don't know exactly when the construction of Derinkuyu began, it seems that the greatest expansion of the city happened sometime between the 8th and 12th centuries AD by the Byzantines. They added chapels, cellars, water wells, cisterns, living and dining rooms, and defensive systems. The underground city was built upon and reused by several different civilizations, including the Persians, Greeks, early Christians, and Byzantines. Each of these groups left behind evidence of their presence in the city. Each group left new layers of history, adding both practical changes and cultural things. It's believed that the Byzantines used the city for the longest period of time. While they were there, the area came under attack by Persians, Arabs, and Seljuk Turks. The underground cities of Cappadocia protected the people and allowed for sustainable life during dangerous periods. Thousands of people could live within Derinkuyu for long periods of time. When visiting Derinkuyu, you begin by walking down a spiral staircase that leads deep into the earth. The light from the surface disappears the deeper you go. Deep within Derinkuyu, the only light that can be seen came from dim lamps. At first, you see small rooms, wine presses, stables, and storage areas. As you go deeper within the city, multiple levels can be seen. There are huge halls, ventilation shafts, wells, chapels, and a school. The tunnels stretch for kilometers, and the chambers are able to hold thousands of people. Derinkuyu goes over 18 stories deep, with some saying it goes down about 84 meters or about 276 feet deep. Throughout Derinkuyu, archaeologists have found more than 600 entrances from the surface. Many of these entrances are hidden below homes, courtyards, and streets. From those entrances, the tunnels move downward and connecting 8 primary levels, which are still accessible to visitors. The lower levels are partially closed for safety and partially because of current excavations. Derinkuyu was not random. Instead, it was well planned. The rooms are arranged logically. The stables and food storage are near the surface to minimize toxic gases from the animals and for ease of storage. The living quarters are a little deeper, and in between are communal areas like churches and schools. The deepest level had wells and defensive chambers, so if the upper levels were breached, residents could go deeper and survive. The construction of Derinkuyu required great skills. The tuff was soft enough to carve with hand tools, but the scale of the city is impressive for the amount of labor that was required over the years. One of the greatest features of Derinkuyu is the ventilation system. There are more than 50 large ventilation shafts that run through the underground city. These shafts provide fresh air to even the deepest levels. Some of these shafts go 55 meters or a little over 180 feet deep. Some of the shafts doubled as wells and provided water for underground aquifers. This meant residents could live in the city for months without needing to go to the surface. The wells, dug more than 55 meters deep, could be cut off from below by the residents of the city if they were to come under attack. Derinkuyu also had excellent security. There are huge circular stone doors, each weighing hundreds of kilograms, carved to roll into place to block off passages. These doors have small round holes in the center so that residents could spear invaders through the doors. Those doors could only be moved from the inside, so they were very effective against intruders. The small corridors, with their short ceilings, made it hard for intruders to come into the city at all and made it easier for the residents to defend. The storage rooms allowed residents to stockpile grains, dried fruits, nuts, and wine. Fermentation chambers and presses show that the residents also produced food from within the city. The stables for livestock allowed the residents to access meat, milk, and leather. For the families living within the city, they had small chambers carved into the rock in which they lived. They slept on mats or low platforms. Children played in the corridors. Adults took care of the food stores, animals, and religious rituals. Life continued within the underground city much as it had on the surface. In the middle levels, a large barrel-vaulted chamber is thought to have been a missionary school, which shows that education and communal gatherings happened underground. The chapel was a sacred place for prayer and worship, which exhibits the city's role as a refuge for early Christians. The temperature in the city was 13 to 15 degrees Celsius, or 55 to 59 degrees Fahrenheit. It remained fairly constant and was much more bearable than the surface climate, which experiences extreme bitter cold winters and very hot summers. It's believed that the main purpose of Derinkuyu was defense and refuge. During the Arab-Byzantine Wars, which occurred between the 7th and 10th centuries AD, Cappadocia was frequently raided. Derinkuyu and other local underground cities let Christian communities disappear during dangerous times. They were able to stay underground until the danger passed. During later periods, Mongol invaders came for Anatolia and the underground cities were safe places to hide. Derinkuyu was not isolated. There are tunnels that stretch for kilometers and which connect Derinkuyu to other underground cities like Kaimakli. The network shows coordination between cities and allowed large populations to move, communicate, and hide during bad times. The city is not used anymore, falling out of use as political and social conditions stabilized. Over the years, the entrances to Derinkuyu were forgotten, sealed by rockfalls, and hidden beneath villages that were built on the surface. The city was fully abandoned in 1923 by Cappadocian Greeks when they were about to lose the Greco-Turkish War. This group left for Greece en masse. Derinkuyu was discovered again in modern times in 1963. A local resident had been losing chickens in a small crack in his wall. He decided one day to renovate the home and knocked down the wall. Behind it, he found a mysterious passage which led into the ground. The passage turned out not to be a basement, but instead it was the opening to a huge underground city, Derinkuyu. This turned out to be only one of more than 600 entrances to the city that were found in private homes. Archaeologists quickly realized how important their find was and began excavations of the city. It was studied and opened to the world in 1969. Despite uncovering a lot about the underground city, the deepest levels of Derinkuyu haven't been explored yet. This is in part due to safety concerns, and in part because excavations are hard to do. Archaeologists wonder if the city could have actually held and supported 20,000 to 30,000 people, or if those numbers are exaggerated. In 1985, Derinkuyu was added to the UNESCO World Heritage List. Today, it costs 60 Turkish lira to visit Derinkuyu. Only the first 8 levels are open to the public. The narrow passages make it difficult for those with mobility impairments and those with claustrophobia to visit. Although today only a small part of Derinkuyu is open to visitors, it's still one of Türkiye's most popular archaeological sites. Derinkuyu is more than just an archaeological site. It's also a cultural symbol. For the people of Cappadocia, Derinkuyu represents their ancestors' hardiness, faith, and ability to withstand even against overwhelming odds against them. Finding the city leads to questions, like what would lead whole communities to abandon the surface and go underground? How were ancient people able to plan and build such a large city without any modern tools? The city also brings up questions about chronology. Was Derinkuyu built mostly at one time and then later expanded, or was it built in stages over millennia? There is no written record from the earliest times in which the city may have been built, so archaeologists have to use material evidence to rebuild its history. That evidence includes things like tool marks, pottery pieces, and architectural styles. Who built Derinkuyu, and when was it built? How were the builders capable of planning and building such an elaborate underground city? What do you think? Thank you for joining me on our adventure through today's mystery. The stories that That's Ready Mysterious covers are often stranger than fiction. If you enjoyed today's tale, subscribe to make sure you never miss a story that challenges the ordinary and reveals the mysterious. Until next time, keep questioning, and remember the world is full of mysteries yet to be explored.